Today is July the 28th, 2022. I am Connie Lester. With me is Jessica Oldham and Kelley Muller Smith. We are conducting this oral history via Zoom. So, Ms. Muller Smith, please state your name and tell us a little about where you are from and what life was like for you growing up.
Okay, my name is Kelley Muller Smith, as you stated. I'm from Oviedo, Florida. That's my home, reared in right there in Oviedo, born in Sanford. Life was absolutely great. We had a great community. We had great schools. We had great churches. It took the village to raise us, and I'm so appreciative of that because it's helped to build me into the person that I am. So life in Oviedo was absolutely the best. Did I answer you okay?
So which schools did you attend in the Oviedo area? And can you talk about some of your favorite school memories?
Yes, I can. I only attended one school, and that was Jackson Heights Elementary, now middle school. My favorite memories started in first grade. My teacher had us to make aprons by hand for our finger painting class. That was a big deal. And that also kind of launched my sewing interest, which lasted throughout after high school. Those were just great times. Our teachers were our parents away from home, I'll put it like that. Some of the other fond memories, school lunches were always home cooked meals, and they were the best food on earth. Also, playground time, I just loved it because we had all of these playground equipment, toys, merry-go-rounds, swings, seesaws. You just had fun for the time that we were outside. And then, of course, the music classes with my mom on Fridays, absolutely amazing. She taught us basic songs, a lot of patriotic songs, a lot of Christian songs. And I looked for a picture to show you of her with her elementary school course. I don't know where it is, but those were great memories, just absolutely great. And being at the school with two of my dad's sisters, my aunts, and my dad and my mom, it was just like being at home. So again, it raised me away from the house. It instilled in me the values of education, of how to treat people. We were always taught there's a way to speak to adults, there's a way to speak to children. And when you are in the presence of adults, you address them, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. And I'm 72 and I still do that. So those were great memories that I have not forgotten.
Did you have a favorite teacher, and what qualities did he or she bring to the classroom?
Yes, my first grade teacher, and then my seventh grade teacher, Miss Houston. She was amazing. She instilled in us the importance. You had to do all of your work in the classroom, all of your work away from school. Your homework had to be turned in. There were no excuses. And then, of course, the music was first and foremost. I just love music. But she would always demonstrate to us. We never misunderstood how she wanted the work done because she would always give a demonstration. If we were doing a history lesson, then she would say, you have to get an encyclopedia, you have to look up the subject, you have to read it and write down the important facts. So there were no excuses. And that kind of instruction just carried over throughout my life. If you're gonna do it right and do it well. Yes.
Very good.
Yes.
Central Florida schools remained segregated long after Brown v. Board decision. What was the first grade year that you attended a desegregated school? And could you share some of your memories of that experience?
Yes. I was fortunate enough to start school at 5 years old, 1955. The law in Florida stated then that if you would turn 6 by the end of that year, then you could start school at age 5, which I did. I'm sorry, would you repeat your question?
Sure. What was the first grade year that you
Oh, okay.
desegregated school? And could you share some of your memories?
Absolutely, yes. It was first grade, 1955. I remember it well. Again, that teacher, and I can't call her name, she was just so interested in all of us. She would find ways to help us better that gift that each student had, which I thought was amazing. Although the class was not very large, but she somehow knew us individually, not just as a student in her class, but she cared enough to find that little special something that would work for me and work for my classmates. And we just had a great time and we learned. We not only had fun, but math was fun, which is not my favorite subject, but we learned the adding and subtraction and multiplication. And it was fun. She always made everything fun. But yeah, my first year was first grade and in 1955 there at Jackson Heights Elementary.
Okay. Was that an integrated school or was it?
No, it was not. In fact, integration did not happen until after I graduated 8th grade. The school went from first through 8th grade. Mm-hmm. And it came, that's another story I'd like to share later, but I went from first to 8th grade in a segregated school, my dad's school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that a difficult transition for you?
No, it wasn't actually, because when I finished 8th grade, I attended Orange County schools. I lived in Orange County during the week so that I could attend Hungerford High. And that was segregated as well. So the integration didn't come about until after I graduated in '67. It was slowly opening in Oviedo. I remember my dad had a very good relationship with Oviedo Elementary. Yes, Oviedo Elementary. I can't call his name now, but he was a man that everyone knew. And my father made it his business, being an educator, he made it his business to make sure that there was some kind of rapport. But, it's interesting because although I grew up in a segregated environment, when I did finish high school, there was no adjustment for me because I was not taught one race was better than the other. We were all people, and though we were separated, we were still God's people. And he didn't make any mistakes. So you got along with whomever you were faced with. And the transition for me was easy. Yes.
It seems that music has played a significant role in your life. And so how did Oviedo schools foster your musical talent? And what other influences shaped your musical education?
Okay, it was my mom. I grew up in a home with music, my family, cousins. I didn't have sisters and brothers at that time. My family was all just music. We always sang around the piano. My mother played for both my dad's church and our church. She would always, we had many what we call Easter sunrise services there on one of the lakes there in Oviedo. And she was over that for many, many years. Anything music in the community, it was May Frances Muller, my mother. Studying under her, started piano at 6 years old. And then in 7th grade, she found a teacher for me in Orlando. So off we went every weekend to Orlando to take my piano lesson. So it was always music. It really, really made my life a lot easier because I just love it. When I finished high school, I went to Bethune-Cookman and sang in the famous Bethune-Cookman Chorale at that time, and then went to Peabody Conservatory of Music, where I majored as a vocal major. So, and I can't tell you how much music really, really means to me and inspires me. I've had the blessed opportunity to sing with the Memphis Symphony Chorus since 2004. It's what I do, it's who I am. Yes.
Well, can you tell us how this shaped your career opportunities and
Yes, yes, I can. When I got to Peabody that summer with my mom and her best friend, I was too late to audition for Peabody. So I stayed there and studied at the preparatory department of the conservatory. And then I auditioned a year later, got accepted, studied, and was out for Christmas. And my choir director called me and said, so-and-so is looking for a singer. He needs one mezzo soprano. And I told him about you, but you have to be in New York tomorrow. I said, okay. And I did, auditioned, and that's how my career started as a professional singer. Did that for over 10 years with different companies. The music just shaped me. And I knew that's what I wanted to do. So I studied as best I could, and it just opened up the doors for singing for me.
So have you performed with groups that people who are listening to this oral history might recognize?
Yes, I did a Broadway show on the road for 9 months with Eartha Kitt. It was called Timbuktu. That was amazing. I learned a lot. It was fun. It was hard work. We were on a plane on an average of every 2 weeks flying to the next city. So that was a great experience. There was also Disney World. I was one of the second group of Kids of the Kingdom. That's me. I don't know if you can see it, but there I am. Okay. That was 3 years. The Norman Luboff Choir, Robert de Cormier Singers. I did a Hello Dolly right there in Orlando at Once Upon a Stage Dinner Theater. That was great. So it's been a journey. I'm just thankful for the opportunity that God has given me to do what I love the best. Yeah, it's been great. It's been great.
The oral history that you're giving us today will be archived in the Oviedo Colored Schools Museum.
Yes.
What are your hopes for that museum?
First of all, I want to say hats off to our president of the board, Judith Smith. She was given the vision to open this museum. And her goal, and our goal as board members, is to better educate the Oviedo and surrounding communities, and of course, anyone that would eventually visit the museum, to learn the truth about the Black history of the educational system in our area. We've got a whole new group of people, they're younger, and they have no idea. I've been told many times when I come home that a lot of people think Jackson Heights Elementary was always integrated. Jackson Heights Middle School, that it's always been there, it's always been integrated. They don't know about Oviedo Colored School and then Jackson Heights Elementary School. They have no clue. So our goal is to better educate the community, the surrounding areas, so that they can just learn the truth. There's just so much history in that area. And I'm proud to be able to say that it's my home, but there's a lot of history that has just never been known by this younger generation. And our goal is to get that information out there so anyone that wants to can really know and learn the truth about the Black educational history of the Oviedo Colored Schools in that area.
Well, is there anything else you would like to add or expand on, or any
I
final?
would. I want to show you another picture. This is the only principal and his wife, the music teacher of the Jackson Heights Elementary School. He was there. I don't even have the years because I was so little, but again, I started in 55. And shortly after I graduated, let me share this because I think you need to know. My dad was in a meeting in Tallahassee, a state education meeting. And he came home. His favorite thing to do was to get the paper and read the news. And in the Sanford Herald, there was an announcement that Jackson Heights Elementary School would be turned into Jackson Heights Middle School the following year. That's how he learned that he would not be the principal anymore of Jackson Heights. Isn't that something? They gave him a position at the school board where he ended up working for a few years before he passed away. It broke his heart and broke our hearts because I thought, school board, you can't tell him, write a letter, make a phone call. He read it in the paper. I was sitting right there with him when it happened. So I think those kinds of things need to be known because he was a great man. He believed in education of all people. He inspired a lot of young men and women. He especially believed in men being men, dressing properly, taking their hats off when they're in the presence of a female or inside a building. You just don't carry yourself any kind of way. And he was able to, as I said, inspire a lot of people. I remember when Hurricane Donna came through our front yard and he got out in that storm, went to the school, Jackson Heights, and opened it so that the people that didn't have adequate homes to live in during a storm could have somewhere to go because no one thought of us. But he is hardly known today. So that's something else that the museum is looking forward to try and make known.
Now, to make them better known, will you say your parents' names?
Yes, I will. Stanley T. Muller, they called him Professor Muller, and May Frances Muller. My mother had 7 schools when she started. She was called an itinerant music teacher in Seminole County. She had 7 schools in 1 week. That's how she started. And she did it gladly. It's been a journey, but I'm thankful that, let me say this, I'm so thankful for your organization and what you all are doing to help us. This is phenomenal, and we won't stop until the dream has been completed. It's ongoing. We want everyone to know the truth about the Oviedo colored schools of our area. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you.
This has been an oral history with Kelley Muller Smith, conducted on July 28th, 2022 through Zoom by Connie Lester and Jessica Oldham.